Welcome to the Double A Sports Podcast, minor league feel with major league discussion. Here are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
Here we go. Welcome to episode 6.
What's up, everybody?
How's everyone doing this wonderful day? So, we did all of our positions. We're out the way.
Woo!
And officially, baseball's back because everyone has reported now.
Spring training.
And we actually have games this weekend.
Hey.
So next time you hear from us, there will be games we can talk about.
All right.
Small outings, maybe like a couple at bats and a couple like an inning. But hey, baseball's here. At least we'll have baseball games until November, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, until we get to baseball games, we're still getting a glimpse of what's going on at spring training. I mean, Yoenis Cespedes is hitting bombs. Giancarlo's hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah. So baseball's back if those two power hitters are already raking. And people are taking live BP, so we'll see what pitchers are doing. There's positions to be battled, so I can't wait to get into it. So first thing first, we talked about it last week that Astros are officially announcing a I am sorry press conference, and let's go ahead and listen to what the player said. All right. See what Bregman has to say.
Thank you, Jim. I have some brief remarks that I'd like to share with y'all. I am really sorry about the choices that were made by my team,
Who came up with this bullshit?
by the organization, and by me. I've learned from this, and I hope to regain the trust of baseball fans. I would also like to thank the Astros fans for all of their support. We as a team
Of course you
are totally focused on moving forward
Okay.
to the
His was
2020
not bad.
season.
The
Thank you.
Altuve's, what we're about to listen to right now, is... Oh, man.
There's still no heart in there.
Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you, Alex. I also will be brief. We had a great team meeting last night, and I want to say that the whole Astros organization and the team
I feel
feel bad
very
about
bad.
what happened in 2017. We especially feel remorse for the impact in our fans and the game of baseball. And our team is determined to move forward, to play with intensity, and to bring back a championship to Houston in
Come
2020.
on.
I
Thank
mean, you apologized, but the results came back and they determined that was a lie.
Like... You couldn't, have scripted that PR, anything better.
Right. That was sad. If you guys are truly sorry, this apology would have came out a long time ago.
Not waiting for a meeting and then
After,
your owner's like,
right.
you two are going to say sorry.
Right.
Because I thought it was going to be players, not just two.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm going to read this real quick. I am sorry that we got caught.
Right. And you couldn't even come off the heart. Like, you had to read that script.
Yeah, Bregman, at least he said sorry. Tuve didn't say sorry at all. He's like, we made bad decision. So.
In hindsight, yeah.
Yeah, so very interesting. You should let the players speak from the heart. I think that was the biggest thing, and they didn't.
Because they didn't have anything to say. They weren't sorry.
Sorry, we got caught.
Right.
We will not get caught next time. So, of course, this story goes more and more and more. They get dug out and thrown out with, what is it? I think, what was it, a day or two later? Carlos Correa's
Tattoo story?
Just overall, just talking about everything, and with I think it was with Ken Burns. I know it was MLB Network. They're talking about games and stuff, and then this whole tattoo story came about this past year and the whole buzzer and jersey situation with Altuve.
I'm not buying the story at all. And he's coming out in response to Cody Bellinger, who was upset about the whole situation. Bellinger was basically saying that the Astros' apology was weak. Everyone knows they stole the ring from us, is what he said. And then, like you said, Correa stated that Altuve didn't cheat and the reason that he didn't want his jersey ripped off was because he had a terrible unfinished tattoo on his chest. Well, you know what? I didn't do that much digging. I went to Altuve's Instagram, and I pulled a picture off of that of him on the beach in 2019, and guess what? He didn't have a tattoo at all on his chest. Now, all of a sudden, he has a tattoo of a name that definitely wouldn't take 2 sessions to finish. What do you think?
Yeah, like you saw, like where that game he had a undershirt on. Then suddenly he did not have an undershirt on.
Somewhere around the 8th or 9th
inning. And then you can see there's like an M. Once you see there's no undershirt, and it looks like a basic like girl's name or daughter's name, something right there.
Well, even if that's the case, when he had that M on it,
I don't care how ugly my tattoo is. If I just hit a walk-off since the World Series, rip everything off besides my boxers. Like, I don't care.
What the picture that they're showing on Twitter with the M on it, if you look closely on the shoulder side, it has the World Series patch on it. So this is after the NL or ALCS.
Yeah, so this is during the World Series, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't care, and there's nothing in the world that's to prevent me from you to say, do not rip my jersey off
after a big hit like that to send you into the World Series.
Yeah, so
why would that be going through your mind right then and there? You're like, yeah, let's celebrate. Exactly.
Yeah, like I don't care. Pop the champagne. I just sent us to the World Series.
The only reason that you would be saying no is because you have something to hide. Truly.
It has to be. Like, was it not feeling comfortable with the undershirt, or were you not feeling the reading quick enough that you need your shirt off?
Right, a big time situation like that, you know you're taking the advantage if you got it.
Yeah, so what we say about Corey Bellinger, he's not the only one that's
definitely
came out
not
this week.
Only one.
Let's see. I have some of them. So the one I got from Cody Bellinger is that I lost respect for those guys. I would say everyone in the show in the big leagues lost respect for those guys. Like, and there's multiple players.
Right. So, like you said, Trout just recently came out and said he's mad about it. He lost respect for those guys, like you said. Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge said, I just don't think it holds any value. You cheated. You didn't earn it.
Yep. And then we have like Nick Markakis. I feel like every single guy over there needs a beating. It's wrong.
That's crazy.
And then Mike Clevenger said, I don't think any of those motherfuckers should be able to look us in the eye.
Even one of the pitchers, Mike Bossingler, states that the Astros sign stealing cost him his job, and I believe he's actually suing them.
There's possibility for this. Like some of the outings
that's not the only one who's feeling that way.
Yeah. And like, of course, Trevor Bauer, he doesn't hold anything back. He said, fuck you. That's how I feel about their whole operation.
Right. So it seems like nobody's buying the Correa story or care. Nobody cares what you guys have to say. You guys are the new Yankees.
Oh, yeah. They have ascended to the most hated baseball team.
Right.
Which it sucks because I love the storyline, them possibly calling 2017, the SI, like this can be the world champions in a couple of years because how they're picking these guys out, drafting, and they're doing good. And then
little did we know what they were doing.
God, I'm just wondering, man, like what if that didn't happen? What team would they'd be right now? So, and then other Astros news, their top prospect, former top prospect, Francis Martinez has been suspended for the whole season for PEDs. This is his second suspension.
Right. The Astros can't get around cheating. I mean, they can't stop doing it.
And this was once a very promising prospect. I remember trading with someone that did that league in minor leagues to get a card signed by him for me. But, of course, he still is on the 40-man roster. He's coming back from Tommy John, so he was most likely going to miss majority of the year anyways because of the Tommy John. But when he has played, he only has 54 innings, pitch, 5.8 ERA, 11.4 Ks per 9. So he's still young. He just reached his 24th birthday. So it's ultimately, depending on how he comes back from his injury and this suspension, like he really doesn't have that many more chances left.
Right. I wouldn't say so either. I mean, with this situation coming up, who knows what's going to happen in the future for this guy.
And then this whole fan situation at spring training.
Right. So
yesterday.
Or was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
There's a fan at the Astros spring training camp banging on a trash can while they were practicing. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and you could tell they kind of looked over at him in the video. It's out there.
So with that being said, you know it's going to be a long year for this team on the road regardless. Do you think Dusty Baker signed up for something that he's not going to be too helpful with?
I think he signed up because he can hopefully control his players and like, look, don't listen. Maybe I don't know.
It's going to be a long season.
God, like I kind of want to go. I think they play in DC. I kind of want to go now.
Just to boo?
Just to go, like to see how, man, because them are going to be very, they better be thick-skinned. That's all I can say.
Right. Well, since Manfred basically didn't do anything to punish them like crazy, I mean, even LeBron James came out and tweeted, I'm going to quote him right now. He said, "Listen, I know I don't play baseball, but I am in sports, and I know if someone cheated me out of winning the title, and I found out about it, I would be fucking irate. I mean, like uncontrollable about what I would do, could do. Listen here, baseball commissioner. Listen to your players speaking today about how disgusted, mad, hurt, broken, et cetera, about this. Literally, the ball is in your court, or should I say field, and you need to fix this for the sake of sports." So everybody is crazy about this situation. Like nobody is letting off the gas pedal.
No, this is not going away anytime soon. MLB should have went harder, and like we said, when we talked about it, when the first things went down, $5 million for a fine and the draft picks probably going to be the worst part about the thing, but the owner's okay paying $5 million for that trophy in his house or wherever it's at.
And since the commissioner didn't do anything real about this, the fans, or should I say the players, are going to take this in their own hands.
Yeah, so of course, you know, Vegas is having fun with all this, and there's an over-under of how many times a Astro player is going to get hit. So the over-under for Astro players going to be hit by a pitch this season is 83.5.
Wow, that's going to be more games than they win this year. Boom.
Like, when I saw this, I'm like, God, there's already betting out there for hit by pitches. I'm like,
what do you got? You got the over or under?
It's probably going to go over.
I'm taking the over, too. I'm thinking, like, we're talking 100. We're talking...
Like, I wanted to see, like, what's an average, but I didn't get a chance to. But I'm like, it's going to get close.
Look, I don't know what
They're
the
going
average
to get
is.
thrown at.
I'm thinking 162 times. One a game.
The memes out there of, like, when you're the first up bat and then you're already warming someone up in the bullpen. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm about to get beamed. It's going to be interesting, like, how this plays out. And, of course, you know, since the Astros and Nationals share a spring training facility, you know, Nationals are bringing a big ass sign that says World Series champions and putting out front of the stadium.
Look, man, after this whole situation, we're gonna have to change the Astros names to the Asterix.
Because, you know, their sign out front of their stadium says 2017 champions.
Trash.
And someone's going to do something. It will not surprise me if we see something in the next couple of weeks. So
let's see. Do you got anything else on the Houston Asterix?
I think that's about it this week so far. You know,
we could go on about the Astros all day long.
This is not going to quiet down until maybe baseball starts back, and that's even if they start doing shitty, then it's going to come right back up. And
right, with all this pressure on them, I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to win as many games as we might have thought earlier in the season. Or before the season started.
I think it also comes into the pitching because with losing Cole, Greinke's got to step up. We'll see how the other guys do, how they fix it, and what Dusty does. Maybe he gets a hold of it, and maybe they rough, but they really didn't lose many players, and so they're still a tight group, so we'll see what happens with Dusty.
I mean, if they do bad, people are going to be happy. If they do great, nobody's going to – they're still going to be hating on it. They're going to be like, look, this is trash. I don't care how good you guys do.
They figure a way out.
Exactly.
So – yeah. So Astros done, I guess, for now. So. All right. So, kind of with the Nationals, Astros, I guess we gotta talk about how the Nationals decided to, send lovely Valentines to every Major League team out there. On Twitter, on Valentine's Day, they felt very loving. So let's go through some of them, like Dear Astros. Roses are red. The fat lady sang, when Howie's homer hit the pole and then went clang.
That's great.
Oh, let's see. Dodgers. 2 Dodgers. Roses are red. Vince Skelly's the GOAT. Howie's slam cleared the fence, and that's all she wrote. Oh, man. Yankees. To the Yankees. Roses are red. Pinstripes are blue. We beat the Astros in Houston in games 1, 6, 7, and 2.
Ouch.
Let's see. Let's go to the Brewers, since they lost in the wild card game. Roses are red. You almost won with Braun, but now you know the legend of the chosen one.
Juan Soto.
And then this one for the damn Mets. These, oh God, I thought it was just us, and I saw it was every other team. To the Mets, roses are red. Hibiscus flowers make tea. Strasburg isn't just better; he's reigning World Series MVP.
Wow. Well, did you talk about the one in the Braves?
The Braves. I think where is it?
I got it. Roses are red. You play for the A. We've got the best record since the 24th of May. Wow, they're talking a lot of stuff.
They are like I was like, wow, they literally went after everyone. And then
look, I guess they figure they already have a target on their back because of the reigning champs. But I mean, you're putting fuel to the fire right here.
Yeah, and then I'll do this last one, the Tigers. To the Tigers, roses are red. Max Scherzer eyes are blue and brown. When we won the World Series, we paraded through town. I was like, wow, was that a shot? That's where he came from. I'm like, wow, bravo. Y'all can talk all your smack you want for now.
Right.
So let's get into some other team news besides, the Astros.
Yeah. So rumor has it that Bartolo Colon may be coming back to pitch again.
Big sexy.
However, it's not going to be for the Major League of Baseball. It's going to be for a Mexican league.
I can see where he pitches there, and hopefully maybe someone wants him to come out the pen or something.
I don't know, man. He's 46 years old. He did agree to a contract with Mexican leagues Monclova. They're basically a AAA league, but they're not affiliated with any MLB clubs.
Yeah. So, he still wants to play. You can tell he's throwing last year.
Hey, man. His Instagram, he's been looking good. But he's been striking out kids.
Yeah, so he's going to have fun. It's not about the money. I think more it's about,
for the love of the game.
Yeah, he's not ready to give it up. Which, like we said, like with Adam Jones, I will see players go to Japan, I feel like, sooner or later, like more and more. So we'll see if Adam Jones is onto something. We'll see this year because he finally did tweet something about the whole Astros thing, but because he's been far away, of course, he's in Japan now. So, but yeah, and then other news, Mets GM, Brody, and former Met Zach Wheeler kind of went back and forth a little bit on comments between the media and stuff.
Yeah, I tip my hat off to Wheeler for ending the conversation and not taking it any further. But the Mets GM basically said, because Wheeler said he was waiting for a phone call and it was crickets. Basically said that's how they work over there, talking about the Mets. And the GM responded with something along the lines of, our health and performance department, our coaches, all helped him parlay two good half seasons over 5 years into $118 million. Whew. Pretty harsh.
He's just throwing fire to Wheeler, and especially in our division. That's something
right. That's what I'm saying. That's not going to help us when we play them.
No. I love Wheeler. I did not want to see him go, but come on, Brody. In a division, he's just saying I was real surprised that they didn't call me. I had to call them.
Right. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, you guys got to communicate better. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Just have some dialogue.
But we're not going to talk too much about that. Let's move on. Another topic in Mets news is that there's another potential buyer.
So A-Rod is thinking about possibly, wanting to buy the team. And, of course, he can't just outright buy the team himself. He's got to get investors kind of like what Jeter did.
Right. He's worth roughly $350 million, and his fiance or wife, J-Lo's, worth a little bit more.
Yeah, so total they're about $400 million, they're saying. So what Jeter with the Marlins, he put up $25 million, and then he got a bunch of other investors involved. So that's why he became president, because he's the more sharer. And same thing with Dodgers. They have multiple people. So he's going to have to get people lined up to be able to make a bid.
So what I'm thinking is, they initially came out with this auction type thing after the falling out of the last bid, but there wasn't any interest after the initial auction. And after the fallout, I think Cohen, the original guy who was going to buy the team, is just waiting for the Wilpons to come begging to him to reconsider the purchase of the team with no stipulations. Because if A-Rod, he doesn't have the money, but he's going to be closer to the $2 billion, whereas Cohen is going to have a higher bid. He just doesn't want the stipulations.
It won't surprise me if we hear that Steve is somewhat working on a deal right now, like
right
in the back door, like they're kind of quietly working on it. So possibly come opening day, they announce it that deal's done.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he has the ball in his court. I mean, he's got the upper hand
maybe
right now.
He only goes up to 2.8 billion and meets them in the middle. They're at 2.6 before. They want 3. Let's meet in the middle, call it done.
Right, because I think it's more likely for him to get the deal done than A-Rod at this moment with time being.
He has less people to line up money because you get all these investors and you have to commit. Then they have to sign a piece of paper where
Cohen was basically done deal.
Here's the amount of money.
Exactly, right.
He had a party ready to plan on opening day because opening day is in New York. He was ready to send invitations out, and unfortunately it fell through. So we'll see. I really hope if A-Rod becomes the I don't know.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
I won't be upset. He's always been a Mets fan. He wanted to play for the Mets, and they kind of broke down in his career. And of course, when he signed his big deals, but
he's a baseball guy. He gets it.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how he would take it on. I mean, I think it'd be good.
And of course, if this happens, he would have to leave ESPN.
Well, I'm sure he'd be fine with that.
Yeah, but it's gonna make him like, oh damn, we have to replace both people. So we'll see.
I'd be happy with anybody taking over the team at this point.
Yeah, just make some smart decisions compared to what the Wilpons have been doing. So, in other news, apparently minor leaguers are finally going to be able to get a nice little raise.
Yeah, they're going to raise the minimum wage for the minor leagues. It looks like the minimum wage for minor league players are going to be raised in 2021. They're only right now they're only paid during the 5 months of the season, the 5-month season. Ben Verlander, former ODU player and brother of Justin Verlander, tweeted, "Much deserved. We'd put in 12 hours a day at the baseball field, and all we ask for in return is a livable wage." I love this. I think they're going to increase 38% and 72% rookie and short season ball. Okay. Weekly pay raise from $290 to $400. Class A is going to go from $290 to $500. Double A $350 to $600, and then Triple A will be $502 to $700 a week. And that's during the season. I mean, it's not great, but it's something.
It's a start. It's still not going to be quite there, but it's, I guess, a little better than nothing. That's kind of with the whole nation, the minimum wage case. It's going to take this is the first step.
I mean, it doesn't really affect the guys that get signed early in the first couple rounds because they get those big bonuses. But the guys who are out there grinding daily who need to make a wage to live off of and support their family, I mean, it helps.
Definitely. So... But then other kind of baseball kind of news is our boy Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Tim Tebow.
Invited to Mets camp again.
All right.
Let's see what he can do. He was injured last third of the AAA season. So we'll see. Most likely he'll start back in AAA again.
Yeah, a couple of seasons ago he was working his way up. He played in AA for the season, and he even made the All-Star team in AA. However, last season when he played in AAA, he took a downward spiral. He was not
quick and
on the same. He was not on the same
injuries,
page.
So
he wasn't hitting good at all. I mean, it was kind of sloppy.
So we'll see if this off season, he got married, so maybe that's out the way. So we'll see if he concentrated, worked on anything. But he did have discussions about going to the XFL.
Exactly. So my he said that he's not going to go. He's not going to take.
He doesn't want to give up.
He's focused on baseball.
Yeah.
So my question to you is it more likely for Tim Tebow to get a call up to the big leagues this season, or any season, get a call to the big leagues, or play in the XFL? What's more likely?
I don't know. I think it's more going to be love for something because he has the ESPN contract, so it's definitely not money.
Right.
Like he said, minor league, he's not getting much.
But he's grinding it out and not complaining either.
And then XFL is not making much money either, but it's not about money.
It'd be an opportunity for him to play.
Yeah. it won't, like, if the XF season was a little different timing, he probably could do both. But since XFL is going on right now and baseball started, we'll see how this season goes.
So
it won't surprise me if he thinks and maybe go XFL next year.
Right. Okay. So I agree with you. I think it's more likely he gets a call to the big leagues. However, it all depends on this season. If this season, if he can continue to show that he can grow as a player and actually put up good numbers that would justify him getting a call, it might happen. But if not, if he has another season like he did last season, there's a good chance if he still got it in him, he might play football.
Yeah, especially if the Mets do good and don't need him up. Because remember, they shrunk the 40-man.
Exactly. So it's even tougher.
It's not okay, yeah, bring him up for some tickets. It's like he's actually going to be worth it because you only can grow 2 more spots.
Right. And I'm not sure what he's getting paid as a minor leaguer. Probably not much, but it's got to be comparable to the XFL salary, which is roughly $50,000.
Yeah, it's got to be that, like you said, that minimum for AAA.
Right.
About $500 a week, because I think the only thing he signed was a $100,000 signing bonus.
Exactly.
And rest was minor league pay.
Well, plus he's probably getting some merch kickback, but still.
Something. And then, like what I said, he makes a couple million for being an analyst for college football on ESPN during the offseason. So it's definitely not money.
Right. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens this year. We're going to definitely keep an eye on Tim Tebow.
Yeah, so we'll see. You know, his career's always been wondering. And then I remember when the Mets signed him, it was very questionable. But in other news with the Indians, Mike Clevenger, we talked to him about his comments about the Astros, but it has came out that he actually just had a knee injury and had to have surgery. And so the potential ace of the Indians is now going to miss time. So we'll kind of see what this Indians team even does now with him missing time.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because they didn't release no timetable.
Okay.
They just said it's a knee injury. And
that's all we know is just a knee injury. We don't know what kind of knee injury.
The right-hander suffered an injury Wednesday during a spring training workout at team facility. The team has now announced a timetable for return.
Well, that's kind of crucial for the Indians.
A partial torn meniscus.
Meniscus.
Yep.
Okay.
Announced Friday. So.
All right. Well, we'll keep
partially
an eye on
torn.
that.
You're talking about maybe till the All-Star break, depending on how fast he heals.
They can't afford that. That'd be too bad.
About then, it's time to just trade people and see what we go through. Because even though, like that's what I said, he's finally been growing every year to year. He went 13-4 last year with a 2.7 ERA in his 21 starts. He's key is why they traded Corey Kluber, and they were hoping him to be the ace, and now he's definitely going to miss some time.
Okay. And another injury that happened, I guess today during spring training or sometime maybe last night. I don't know.
I think it was last night.
Seth Lugo for the Mets. He fractured his left pinky toe at the hotel.
Damn little side tables.
He's supposed to miss spring training, but they think he should be good to go for opening day.
Yeah, they said something. They'll give him a couple of days and he'll throw and see how that foot feels.
How it affects him.
Because I don't know. Did they say what toe?
Left pinky, I think.
Okay, so yeah, it's his. That's not his plant. No, it is plant foot, baby.
Yeah,
it is. So yeah, definitely got to throw and see how it feels for him.
And then the last piece of news that I wanted to bring up was about Manfred again. He came out and said he made a mistake, but it wasn't against the Astros punishment. It was for calling the World Series trophy just a piece of metal.
Yeah, that one I couldn't believe he said that. Being the commissioner of baseball,
right? That's what they play for. They play for that piece of metal.
It's not about the money. Yes, the money is good, but that's the whole goal for the end of the season is that piece of metal, as you referred to.
Right. So the last month or so, this guy is just not getting it. I mean, does he not get baseball? What is he even doing there?
Is he getting flustered because he didn't do the right call and the punishments that he keeps getting called?
He needs to calm down.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. And then one other little piece of news before we get into our top 10 movies and everything. MLB released with the baseball pretty much projections for them.
Oh yeah.
So I pretty much got the division down. I can pull the picture up my phone real quick. But they picked their ultimate division winners, and then I went down and see the 2 wild cards for each team. And the biggest thing that caught my eye was their best record they're predicting is, of course, the Dodgers at 103 games, wins, and then 59 losses, which is about what they got this year. So pretty much in the NL, they had the Mets winning the East by 1 game.
And that says a lot compared to who is in that division.
Yeah. And then the Central going with the Reds, which we said it's not a strong division this year. And the Reds moves they made, they have them at 86 and 76. And like I said, the Dodgers are the best record at 103 and 59. And then the wild cards, if you look at the records for the NL, would be the Nationals versus Cubs in the wild card game.
That'd be good.
So, but pretty much, like I said, Mets would win the division by 1 game. And then the 2-time defending East champions, they have Braves coming in at 83. I guess because since Donaldson left, they think they're going to take a little step back. I don't think that big of a step back, but we'll see. And then AL, they have the AL East going to the Yankees, which everyone predicts.
Yeah, that should be a given.
Central is going to be the Twins, which they're defending champs. I think White Sox is going to be a little bit interesting close, especially with Mike Clevenger missing time now.
Right.
I don't see the Cleveland Indians finishing second.
No.
And then the West, they're giving Astros at 98 wins.
I'm going to flip their projections in the West. I'm going to say the Astros don't finish on the top. I'm going to put the Angels up there and Astros below them.
And then the 2 wildcard games, they have Rays and Angels as the wildcard teams.
Hey, that'd be great. If the Angels
if Mike Trout finally gets a game,
right,
God.
Right. I'm going to say the Angels are going to have the upper hand.
So, very interesting position. Like, some of the teams make sense, Orioles, 63, the worst record, I think. Yeah, in both leagues.
I mean, we're not surprised. They're in a tough division, and they suck.
I was surprised the Mets predicted by game and then Atlanta finishing third. I was real surprised when they posted that.
Yeah, I wonder how they choose these predictions because, I mean, they're all in the 80s, though, so you know how that goes.
Someone's get hot, a prospect comes up,
anything can change those predictions real quick.
So definitely, and then, of course, a little sad news. Former Blue Jays shortstop Tony Fernandez passed away the other day at 57.
Former All-Star.
Yeah, 12 seasons with Blue Jays, Padres, Yankees, Mets, Indians, Reds, and Brewers. 4-time Gold Glove, 3-time All-Star. He won his World Series title with the 93 Blue Jays. So, rest in peace. So, and like we said, we're going to talk about this week, our top 10 baseball movies. So, I was definitely having a hard time with this list. I know, Alan, you did as well.
I texted Alan earlier in the week. I was like, look, man, this is tough. I don't know what to put in my top 10. I have so many baseball movies I like, and I don't want to put them all the same kind of movie, so it was tough.
Yeah, I had to start writing out a list of all of them and then, thinking about it. Like I pretty much had what my number one was, and after that, it was kind of like, where did I want? Moving. I kept moving, and I actually moved them a couple times when I realized a movie, and it's
right. And I'm with Alan. I had my number one was easy number one for me, and this is from the era that we grew up in, the movies that we grew up on. So it might not be the number one by the consensus, but in my opinion, this is what I like when I grew up.
There's probably definitely one movie that a lot of people have on their list that I can't remember if I ever watched it or I have. It's been a long time. It hasn't stuck in my mind. The Natural.
Oh, dude, I love The Natural, man.
It's just something I haven't watched. If I can't remember it, so it didn't make a list because I saw other people put on their lists and stuff. So it might be on your list. I don't know, but
it actually just missed my list. I actually had it on my list, but I took it off. It's a great movie.
Yeah,
you should absolutely check it out.
Yeah, I probably maybe have seen it. It's just been forever. So I definitely, when I was making a list,
it reminds me of basketball. You remember how in basketball they created a basketball out of the Lazy Boy?
Yeah,
this guy has a bat that he made out of
I watched the trailer. And I was like, The Natural. I was like, it sounds familiar. And then when I watched trailers, like, yeah, this is not ringing a bell for me.
Right, like he's a stud coming up, and I'm pretty sure he got shot or stabbed or something, which took his career off.
Yeah, it was like a very fictional story, but it had that sound, But so yeah, we're gonna go from 10 to 1. We'll talk about each other's list just like we did the position players. So you want to start at your number 10, Alan?
Yeah, man, my number 10 is a fun family movie. I watched it many times growing up, probably on VHS. Angels in the Outfield.
Okay, that one was a close one on my list. I didn't put on my list. It kept teetering. when I kept moving stuff, I'm like, I want to put it in, I don't want to put it in. But yeah, like you said, it was our generation. I remember watching it Dad, when you want to take me home? When the Angels win the pennant, and then so if you guys don't know, a little synopsis of the movie. It's about a foster kid named Roger, who's played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He loves the Angels, even though they're the worst team in the major leagues. His estranged dad promises to reunite the family if the Angels make it to the World Series. So he asked
basically praise to God. Yeah, to ask him for help them win the pennant. And his prayers are answered.
Yeah. So great movie. Like, and then they did a little too much, with sequels, but that one was perfect with Al.
Al, who's played by Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
You would know him from Back to the Future, and then the coach is Danny Glover. It's a great cast from the 90s.
It was so 90s and such a great film. So I really love it. It didn't make my list. So at my number 10 is a little bit more recent. Is Trouble with the Curve.
Yes, I love Trouble with the Curve. It didn't make my list, but I put it on my mentionables.
Yes.
You know what? To be honest, like, it was going to be in my top 5, and I was like, you know what? I got so many movies that I like, and I just want to put one, ones that hit me when I was younger.
Yeah. And this is more of a recent movie, like we said, with
maybe Justin Timberlake's the reason why I couldn't get into. I put it over, but he did great.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood as an older scout.
Is it Amy Adams?
Amy Adams was his daughter, was a lawyer, and then got word from a friend that her dad's not doing well, so she went to North Carolina to help him scout.
Yep.
He can't see, and then just the story of being around baseball and the North Carolina leagues, around prospects, draft time.
And it's so great because he's been a scout for so long. I mean, his daughter, she loves him so much that she knows everything about baseball. And it comes down to the point where he can't see that well anymore.
But he knows the sound.
The sound of the ball hitting the bat, the crack of the bat. He knows if it's a good... Yeah,
and then his daughter's like, "How do you know? Like, you can hear it." And then he's like, "Oh, heard it." And then she definitely hears it at the end when she hears the crack of the glove from
Right. So there's a stud that he's out there scouting who's supposed to be the top dog. He's a really great hitter. However, he can't hit the curveball.
Yeah, he's a scout for the Braves, and Timberlake's character is a scout for the Red Sox, who have the number 1 pick.
And he tells him that he wouldn't draft that guy.
And then he told the Braves don't, and then this hot shot in the organization said, "Let's draft him," and draft him anyways. And Timberlake got mad at him.
And Clint Eastwood's daughter, played by Amy Adams, she's staying at a hotel while scouting this kid, and the maid's kids are out there playing catch.
The owner's daughter, owner's son.
Right, and he's out there
peanut
getting
boy.
it. And she brings him in.
Yeah, for this, draft day workout kind of at the stadium, and even knowing that the thing was coming, their prospect they just drafted.
Right, they told the kid.
Touch him.
They told the kid that they drafted, who Clint Eastwood told him not to draft. They said, "Look, throw this kid a curveball," and he throws him curveballs, and he can't touch it. The owner is like, "Are you kidding me right now? This guy can't hit a curveball."
Yeah, the GM is like fired the other guy on the spot and said, "Well, he already has a lawyer. He has my daughter."
Right, it's a great baseball movie.
It's just about prospects, the Carolina League, and baseball all around family.
Involved,
yeah,
comedy.
So
Clint Eastwood, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, so that's why I had it at my number 10.
Great movie, man.
Yeah. All right, so my number 9 is a HBO film, 61.
Great film. It's not on my list.
Yeah, the whole battle of the 61 home runs with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris.
Yeah, man.
The way they did the movie was it just showed everything back then where like, oh, you have to get done by this game because Babe Ruth didn't have these extra games. Now it really don't matter when they changed the list, but yeah, just the way they performed back in the days, and you just watching the storyline how no one really liked Roger Maris because that should have been Mickey's record, and like it was just insane that their teammates going for the same record and they're all about it, but the fans did not agree with them.
Well,
yeah, it's just crazy timeline. Then of course, they show the recent day when Mark McGwire beat the record. His family was there, but yeah, it's just the story of that season, which is insane for anyone going that run. But then when it's two on the same team, especially a big name like Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris wasn't as big then, and kind of solidified his name with that run. So that was my number 9. What's yours?
Look, man, I must have a thing for the cheesy comedies because my next one is The Rookie.
That's actually next on my list.
Okay,
at number
great.
8.
Great. So we both agree we like The Rookie.
Yes.
It's a true story about a coach who discovers that it's never too late for his dreams to come true. Jim Morris, played by Dennis Quaid, never made it out of the minor league system before he had a shoulder injury that ended his career, basically. It was like 12 years ago. Now he's married. He has children. He's a high school chemistry teacher and a baseball coach in Texas. He makes a deal with his team because they're worried about the program being shut down and there's not enough funding for it. So he tells them, because they see him pitch, he's throwing BP and he's bringing it and they're not touching it. Yeah. So he's basically like, hey guys, if you guys go out there and win the district championship, I'll go do a tryout.
And he does it, and the Rays come calling. He works his way through the minor league system, and then, of course, makes his major league debut.
Little tearjerker.
As right there, not far from home in good old Texas Stadium.
Right. A couple of quotes that I had written down that I liked from this movie is one that was he's in the minor leagues talking to the stud who's going to get called up. He believes he's going to get called up, and he's not. But he's like, you know what we get to do today, Brooks? We get to play baseball.
Yeah,
which that's a pretty good. He's like, look, man, we get to do what we love.
Yeah, like, and they're having financial troubles because, like you said, the minor leagues, especially then, it wasn't that much money. Like, he took a pay cut to pursue his dreams, and he ended up having a couple seasons actually in the major leagues. So.
Yeah. I mean, when you get older, your arm's you're not supposed to get faster. You're supposed to slow down.
Yeah. So
another good quote that I liked, and this is like an inspirational quote from the movie. He says, "I'm talking about wanting things in life. I'm talking about having dreams, and all that starts right here, right here. If you don't have dreams, you don't have anything."
Yeah. It's so true.
It's a good movie, man.
It is.
It gets you in the feels, especially when he finally makes it through the grind. Older guy, he comes out of the pen. They call his name. He's got his hometown crowd up there cheering him on, loud as they can be, and he gets, it's
and then and then his dad never believed him, and then his dad was there and gave him the ball.
Game, it's great, man.
Yeah. So that's my number 8. So what's your number 8 since that was your number 9?
My number 8 is another cheesy comedy. I don't know. I just can't get off of it, man. I like it. It's Rookie of the Year.
That is next on my list at number 7.
Okay, so we're both getting into cheesiness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mr. Rowan Garner, average, little league player.
Not very good, by the way.
Slips on a baseball after school one day. They're playing mess with him and breaks his arm. Well, the way it sets, like a tendon tightens, and goes to a Cubs game. Like, congratulations, your cast is off. His mom sends the Cub game,
and
home run
for the other team hits a home run.
So you're supposed to throw it back, and then
throw it back,
and he just feels it tighten when he throws it back, and then release it and straight beam shot to home plate.
He throws a frozen rope from center field to home plate to the catcher. And the older guys are like, "You're trying to show me?"
Yeah, of course they ran away. Then the Cubs track him down and sign a major league deal to pitch, and
I mean, there's a lot of great quotes in this game or in this movie.
The stinky cheese.
The stinky cheese. Yeah, he's like, what does he say? He says, he's talking to the pitcher, Rocket, by the way, and he's like, "Give him the cheese, the high, stinky cheddar." I mean, and it's funny because they're playing the Mets, and the Mets has a villain on their team named Hito, and I love it because when he's hitting home runs off of people, he hits one off of Rowan Gardner. First one, he's like, "This one's for mommy, mommy."
Yeah,
mommy.
Like it was a classic. Like,
he's also like, "Let the big dog eat."
And he always said like his dad was a player, and ended up being his mom because he slips on the ball again. And, it's the biggest game of the season to clinch. I think it was the division or whatever. I think it was the division or the pennant or something. But he slips on the ball. His arm's now back to normal, and he sees a little name, took off and says, "It was you," and he floats it, wins the game.
Basically does the ephus, and Hito can't handle it.
And then at the end, he shows his World Series ring.
But even before that, I mean, what I like about this movie is that it takes you back to when you're playing Little League as a kid. We played pony ball, but it's like he's over here like, "Pitcher's got a big butt," or like, he's over here getting to the minds like you would as a kid. You don't see the big leaguers; they're not yelling at the pitchers like that, but he's having fun with the game.
Yeah, it brought like the Rocket and then like down like had fun and made like the Cubs like have fun. Either they were a terrible team at the time. So yeah, love that movie. That's why it's at my number 7. So what's your number 7? If that was your number 8,
my number 7 is a more serious movie. Finally, you guys get to hear a serious one. It is Moneyball.
It's on my list. It's pretty high up there.
Yeah, I knew it would. Like I said, so these are
so Moneyball on my list is number 2.
All right. Well, let me put a disclaimer here. These might be my top 10, but they are not in any kind of order. They're just the 10 movies that I thought were great to put on the list, except for number 1. That's absolutely my number 1 movie. But other than that, these could fall in any category. So since it's so high on your list, man, what do you got to say about it?
Moneyball is based on what Billy Beane and the Oakland Athletics did for that team.
So I can give the summary of it. And we can talk about it.
So pretty much they lost Jason Giambi, Johnny Damon after a season to big contracts. Them being Oakland don't have a lot of money.
Right. So this one stars Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill.
Mm-hmm.
The Oakland A's GM Billy Beane. So it's based on a true story. Is handicapped with the lowest salary constraint in baseball. If he ever wants to win a World Series, Billy must find a competitive advantage. He's about to turn baseball on its ear when he uses statistical data to analyze and place value on players he picks for the team. So what do you like about it?
Yeah, it just shows where analytics started. They find this, he goes to Cleveland Indians to try to work out a trade and see this guy kind of tell the GM, don't do it. And then, who are you? And kind of, talks about baseball. Then they call, would you have drafted me? No, I wouldn't have. I draft you in the 9th round and gave you no money. So then, he bought him from the Cleveland Indians. They set up a scheme and figure out players that they can get for decent money just because they get on base.
Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't tell you about, the rookies that came up. They got Barry Zito that year that pretty much won the Cy Young of his year. But still, the players that they bought for cheap and they won 20 games in a row to set the AL record.
Yeah, I can't remember, but one of the guys in the movie was he's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm great, blah, blah, blah. I don't need this. He's like, why do you think you're great? He's like, because you paid me $8 million to play baseball.
Oh, that was Justice.
Oh, David Justice?
Yes.
And he's like, no. He's like, we paid you $4 million. The Yankees are paying the other
$4 million.
So they're paying $4 million for you not to play on their team, to play against them. Exactly. It's a great movie, man.
Yeah, it's all around. Of course, it doesn't tell you the whole story, but
right.
They still get up there. 100 wins, and of course, yet again lose in the first round of the playoffs. But it just shows you this is the start of analytics where baseball is now, where that's players going young who can get on base.
Yeah, one of the quotes from the movie. It's nothing big, but it's just I always like it. He's Billy Beane, or played by Brad Pitt. He's just how can you not be romantic about baseball?
It is the whole music and certain stuff, especially when the sound of the walk-off home run.
Right, the whole feel. And he came and watched. He
had very his daughter made him go back to watch the game.
They went on a streak.
They were on the 19-game winning streak. They need one more to pass the Yankees, and he was on the way to a minor leaguer because he never watches the games.
Right,
and his daughter's like, "Where are you? I'm on the way to see our team. Turn around now." No, no. And he turns the game on. They're up 11-0. But by the time he shows the stadium, the Royals have tied it. And then Heddenberg, who was a catcher that had blown out arms, got to bat because, he finally believed in, Billy Beane's system and hits a walk-off home run to set the record. It's just overall how they put his story. And then, of course, they show where he was offered the Red Sox job and he turned it down, which... Yeah.
It
probably hurts him because 2 years later they won the World Series with ultimately what he kind of did.
Yeah, I mean it's a great drama, great movie. I would definitely check it out if you haven't already.
All right, so that was your 7, right?
Yep. So
and my 7 was Rookie of the Year, so I guess we'll go into my number 6.
Who's your number 6?
My number 6 is Bull Durham.
Oh, okay. So I love Bull Durham so much. It could have been my number 1, but I have a safe spot for number 1. That's my number 2 movie.
All right, so yeah, that classic of minor league top prospect and Crash Davis.
That whole movie is baseball.
Had almost everything. It had comedian. The first movie that really had comedian, romantic, and some seriousness to it, all in one. Being how old this movie was, is kind of one of the first of its generation.
Yeah, man, it just screams baseball to me completely.
Yes.
So it's a drama, romance, comedy, like Alan said, and it has baseball. What else could you ask for? I mean, any movie with Kevin Costner is great, especially if it's a baseball movie. He calls a guy meat.
Yeah.
It takes place in Durham, North Carolina. It's a minor league team, AAA team. They're still around. They actually play in our division. Let's see.
So pretty much they have a hot top prospect coming up, and then they get Crash to come to help mentor this prospect.
Right, and at the same time, there's a poetry-loving groupie named Annie Savoy, who's played by Susan Sarandon.
Yep.
She's the team's groupie, basically, and as the season goes on, she selects a brand new person, I guess, to be with.
Yeah.
Which happens to be, what's his name? Ebby Calvin LaLouche, is that what they're calling him? The recruit, played by Tim Robbins?
Yeah.
Who she christens Nuke. So she calls him Nuke.
Yep.
Anyways, he, like Alan said, Nuke receives guidance from veteran player Crash Davis, played by Kevin Costner, who settles down his erratic pitching and allows him to follow the catcher's lead. And I think even in the movie, he sets a record, 2 records, one for the most walks at 18 and also for the most strikeouts at 18.
Yeah. And then, Crash Davis was like setting the minor league home run record because he's been always a minor leaguer. He's been called up a couple times, but not like he's more of, that's why they bring him in. But some of the parts I love about the movie when he, tells the meat to throw a curve and he's just, I'm going to throw my fastball. Like, okay. And he tells the hitter, fastball.
It was coming, yep.
It's like, wow.
He's like, I thought I was really bringing it. He's like, I told him you were going to throw that pitch.
Yeah.
Well,
that and then the wedding gifts. Met. Yeah, and the wedding gifts on the mound where like when they have like the group talk. It's just all around the comedy, all around like the minor league field back in the day.
Yeah, and so the hotshot kid comes in and they go to the bar and they basically get into a fight. Him and Kevin Costner. He's like,
new catcher.
He gives him the baseball. He's like, hit me right here in my chest. And he throws the ball and not even close to him. Breaks a window. He decides he gets mad. He tries to swing on him. Kevin Costner knocks him out. And he's basically like, yeah,
it's hey like, man, who are you, man? I'm your new catcher.
Exactly. So it's a good movie. One of my favorites. I had it at number 2.
Yeah, I had it at number 6.
There's just so much you could talk about this movie.
So So that was my number 6. What's yours, number 6?
So my number 6 is another comedy, but this is one that I could watch over and over, man. This is one that I grew up on. Everybody references it, even today's players. Major League.
That is my number 5. That was my next on my list.
Dude, there's too much to say about this, man.
Yeah, it was very, like, you cannot put it on any baseball list, that classic, So pretty much with the movie, if you haven't seen it, which I highly doubt if you listen to this podcast, you have to see this movie. But, a stripper inherits the team and wants to move the team to Miami, but they need them to lose. So she pretty much picks the worst of the worst to be on this team.
And when they find out that that's the reason they're there so they can get moved to Miami, they basically start trying to win.
Yep, and I remember the pinup girl of her, and they take a piece of clothing off every win so they can win the division, and
And what I like about this movie is that they even have an actual, what am I trying to say? The actual announcer.
Yes.
Who's playing a part of an announcer in the movie, but a drunk one.
Yeah.
He still calls games. I'm not
sure.
For
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Brewers. Okay.
Yeah.
And he says he has a couple quotes in here. He's saying things like when Vaughn, the pitcher, who's played by
Charlie Sheen,
he's getting rocked. Charlie Sheen's a guy who's been in jail. He gets out of jail and now he throws fast, but he can't control his ball. But he gets on the team, and then somebody's hitting home runs off of him, and the announcer's like, Vaughn deals, and Hayward swings and crushes one towards South America. Tomlinson will need a visa to catch this one. It's out of here, and here's nothing left but a vapor trail. And so there's a lot of good quotes you can come from this.
The quotes, the characters, Willie Mae Hayes.
Yeah, the coach says, well, you may run like Hayes, but you hit like shit. He also says, forget the curveball, Ricky. Give him the heater. Yep. And then they have a guy.
The Wild Thing.
And there's a power hitter in there who's just like trouble with the curve. He can't hit a curveball. And he prays to a guy named Jobu. And eventually he gets upset with him. He's like, you know what? He's like, Jobu, I go to you. I stick up for you. And you help me now. I say, fuck you, Jobu. I do it myself.
Yep, because he could not hit curveballs. Fastballs, he was crushing them. Like, what's wrong with this guy? Then, all right, switch up some all speed, and couldn't touch it. Right. It's just overall the comedy of the 80s. It was, I think, 89 when the movie came out, and the Cleveland Indians, and just, Charlie Sheen with Wild Thing, the glasses with the skull marks.
Right.
It's, and then the whole calling the shot at the end, and then put the bunt down, and
right. And a guy who plays Willie Mays Hayes. I mean, he doesn't even get invited to spring training. He sneaks into there, try to get his shot,
guy?
And they remove him out of his bed. They put his bed outside of the training facility, and he wakes up. They're doing a time trial where they're like trying to see who's fastest.
100-yard dash.
And he runs out there in his pajamas and basically beats him with no shoes on.
Yeah. Give this guy a jersey.
Yeah, man. So,
and of course they win. So she doesn't get her wish to move the team.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's a classic. That's why I had it at number 5. You had it, you're number 6. Like, you can't go wrong with that movie.
No, Major League's great. The second one's still good.
Second one's good. It's just weird that it's in Baltimore. If like the stadium, their home stadium it was newer Baltimore Stadium. And then was it the third one back to the minor league? It was
right. And there's a lot of stories going on in the first one too, because like you said, you got the story with Vaughn who's trying to he's got out of jail, he's trying to be a pitcher, trying to establish himself. You got the guy who's not even invited to spring training, gets a job. You got the guy who can't hit a curveball, but he can do everything else great. Then you got the veteran catcher who just wants one more win, and he's got trying to get the girl.
Yeah, he's trying to get his old ex-wife back. She's from Cleveland and stuff. So,
right, and then you got the third baseman who can't play anymore, but he's still hanging on for dear life, and he
cheats, and then his wife sleeps with Vaughn.
Like, man,
some team drama. So, yeah, if you haven't checked it out, please go check out that movie. So that was my number 5. That was your number 6. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is one that's before my time, but I still watched it a lot and it was great. The Bad News Bears, and we're talking 1976 Bad News Bears.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. I also like the one where they go to Japan. Don't get me wrong, I love that one. But,
okay, yeah.
But this we're talking about the 76 one. Is it on your list?
It's not on my list.
Okay, so this is about an aging, down on his luck ex-minor league coach who coaches a team of misfits in the ultra-competitive California Little League. Former minor leaguer Morris Buttermaker is a lazy, beer-swilling swimming pool cleaner who takes money to coach the Bears. A bunch of disheveled misfits who have virtually no baseball talent, and realizing his dilemma, brings aboard a girl pitching ace, Amanda Werleiser, who is the daughter of a former girlfriend, and Kelly Leak, a motorcycle punk who happens to be the best player around. Brimming the conference, the Bears look to sweep into the championship game on an average an earlier loss to their nemesis, the Yankees. So, it's a pretty good movie about a bunch of kids who really can't play. Kind of like the Mighty Ducks, if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
A bunch of kids can't play. They get a coach in there. He brings in his daughter, and they end up doing their thing. And one of the quotes I like from the movie, he says, "This quitting thing, it's a hard habit to break once you start." And then also, the kids, when they win, or actually they don't win. The kids lose to the Yankees, I think.
Yeah, they don't lose in the last game.
They don't care that they lose. They're having fun. And one of the kids who's always talking crap, he says, "Hey, Yankees, you can take your apology and your trophy and shove them straight up your ass."
Yeah, like even when they try to remake it with a Billy Bob Thornton,
I mean, it's not the same. I mean, it's still a good movie. Billy Bob, everyone's throwing the memes around of him hitting the kids, beating them all in baseball, saying this is going to be the Astros when they get up to bat.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good movie. It didn't make my list, but yeah, it's still one of those classic baseball films. And like you said, like they end up losing by there at the end, call out at home plate, and
they might have lost.
And still the coach handed out beers to all the players.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, you can't do that today. People get offended. They might have lost, but they still won. In the end.
The biggest thing was them. They were a terrible team, and they still almost won. So yeah. So that was your number 5, right?
Right.
All right. So then we're at number 4. So at number 4, I had the classic film A Field of Dreams.
Okay, great. I did not have it on my list. It made it into my mentionables. Field of Dreams is great. Like I said, I didn't want to fill my list up with too many Kevin Costner movies, although it's a great movie. I mean, it's got Simba in it or Darth Vader. I mean, it's a good movie.
James Earl Jones. Yeah, pretty much, he's working out in this field and he starts hearing voices. If you build it, they will come.
And I'm sure everybody should know that quote. I mean, it's so popular. This movie is so popular. They're even having a game
this year.
They built it. They built the stadium.
They are building a stadium next to where they filmed the movie, and it's going to be where the White Sox and Yankees going to play a 3-game series.
Right. So that's happening this season.
This season, yes. And it's like you said. Then he ends up building it and starts seeing ghosts of the players to give him a chance to play one last game. And
right, and at first nobody else is seeing it. Like his wife's brother-in-law, somebody's coming
like,
over.
What are you doing? Why are you watching?
Right, what are you looking at? And he's like, you don't see it?
They don't see it. And then
who is it? One of the mafia movie guys is in it.
Yeah,
Ray Liotta or something.
So and then ultimately he meets his dad, introduced to his family because his dad was a former player. And just overall, it's like a great movie that everyone wants to go see The Field of Dreams. It's like if you're a baseball person.
Right. I mean, he's hearing the voices and they're telling him to go get this guy or do this or that. He's like, I don't know why, but I'm going to go across the country and try to figure this out. And James Earl Jones is trying to pretend like he doesn't hear it or doesn't know what's going on.
They go to a baseball game. He's like, did you hear it?
Right.
And he says like, okay, so you did hear it. And then, he sees an old guy from the stadium, from the town. Oh, no one told me that in years.
Oh, yeah, the doctor, right, who's actually not alive. I think he was actually a ghost as well.
Yeah, so overall,
and he gets to play ball because he was. Man, that's a good movie.
It's just where baseball is just that special part in your life,
and he gets to play a game of catch with his dad.
And
right?
that's one thing. Like every dad and son, like, hey, Dad, do you want to play catch?
Right.
It's like something that it's just something.
A lot of people hate on the wording that he says though. He's because he doesn't say you want to play catch. He's like you want to play a catch or something random like that. I can't remember.
So,
but yeah, great movie.
So that's my number 4. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is another funny one. Like I said, I almost didn't put this on my list, but I was like, I'm gonna throw it on my list, and it just happened to fall on number 4. But I like it because it kind of reminds me of everyday guy and how we see baseball. So my number 4 is Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch.
Because
Oh my God. Okay, Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore. Right, so wow. I kind of forgot about that movie, but I can see where, that diehard Red Sox fan in him.
And it lined up perfectly because after they shot it, the Red Sox
they were shooting as they were doing the curse, and of course they had to put it in the film. But
all right, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it. So this is with Jimmy Fallon. He's a high school teacher who meets Drew Barrymore, and she has a successful career in business, and they don't appear to have much in common on the surface. But they hit it off, and soon it evolves into a serious romance. But when spring training rolls around, she becomes aware of his true love for baseball the Red Sox. Despite the team's record, Ben has a fierce, loyal Red Sox fan. He's been a fierce fan since childhood, and she finds it hard to compete with his passion for baseball. While he's forced to choose between his baseball team and her, Fever Pitch was shot in part of Boston in the 2004 season, like I said, when the Red Sox, won the World Series. Right, that's been going on since 1918. So one of the funny parts is during spring training, the TV reporter says, "Where do Sox rank in terms of importance in your life?" Jimmy Fallon says, "I say Red Sox, sex, and breathing."
Yeah, it's just definitely that classic film where they got lucky where the Red Sox did end up winning the World Series, so they had to film it, put it in.
And that boosted it, man.
But yeah, like when he's like, my love, and where we always go down to spring training, and some people just didn't understand. She didn't understand that love of baseball that he goes. And then him and his friends, they put it where who's going to go with the game with him, who's giving tickets.
He tells them to dance for tickets, right?
Yeah, like what are you doing? Like, oh, it's ticket day.
He's like, what do you say? He's like, those aren't Yankees dancing moves. Those
are
like some other dance moves.
Yeah, that's like this team dancing. I want Yankees tickets, but yeah, like with being the Fenway and the old school of the park, you do have to inherit tickets, and it was his grandfather's ticket, so something special to him.
Right. And like I said, the reason I like it so much is because it reminds me of everyday baseball fan. Like, we love the game that much, and sometimes other people don't understand how much you love the game.
Yeah.
But in this game, at the end of it, she actually
runs on the field.
She sees him that he's going to sell his tickets, and she doesn't want him to do that. Yeah. She's like, this means a lot to you.
Technically on the field
and touches Johnny Damon's butt or something.
Yeah, like slaps on the way. Yeah.
He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You're going to get arrested." She's like, "I don't want you to don't sell your tickets." The only thing he can ask her is the field spongy?
Yeah. He's like, "How's the field?" But yeah, I can relate to my wife was not really a big baseball fan, and I know Alan's wasn't either. So when it comes to baseball, something special that we get, and our wives kind of go to the games, like, okay, but when we go together, it's definitely different,
right? Because like we know what's going on, we know the strategy involved.
There's no what's
pitches,
going on,
right? It's just like
I understand, like, oh my god,
we appreciate the game for what it is. So that's why that one hit so hard with me.
Yeah. So that was your number 4, right?
Right.
So we're at number 3 now.
Okay.
So this is the last movie on my list because we're with my number 2 before we go to number 1. So my number 3 is number 42.
Great movie. Unfortunately, it didn't make my list this time. Like I said, there's a lot of the ones that I grew up on, and that one came out a little bit.
Yeah, so this came out in 2013. It's based on the true story of Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, good movie.
Great movie. They showed in the beginning where like they track him down. They want to bring him into baseball, and he comes up through the minor league. Getting thrown at. It just shows the reputation of that timeline in that time with what Jackie had to go through.
Right, and it also shows how the team took a chance on him, and they didn't care what color he was. I mean, one of the quotes he says was, dollars aren't black or white, they're green.
Yeah,
he's like, if you could play ball, we're going to let you play ball. I don't care.
Yeah, and it sucks that the original manager got caught in some scandal where he couldn't. Then he had to find a whole new manager, and But ultimately, they end up going to the world, winning the pennant that year. Jackie won Rookie of the Year that year, and then of course they ended up winning the World Series a couple of years later.
Right, and you know what happened with Jackie because his number's retired now.
Yeah, finally,
and all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
I think the last person to wear it was Soriano.
Yeah,
Mariano,
because he was so established. They said, "Okay, you can be the last player."
Right.
And then for the only other player, the last person to wear that number, you're perfectly fine with him playing it.
Absolutely.
So. But yeah, and then the special, which hopefully Alan gets to go see soon at Citi Field, since really Brooklyn is closest to Queens. The whole tundra of the Mets at Citi Field, where you can see the 42, you see the history, and it's special. Special player, special time, great movie. They did it very well justice. I love it. I watch it all the time. Especially around Jackie Robinson Day, I definitely have to watch it once every year. So that's my number 3. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is A League of Their Own.
It was very close to making my list.
Man, it's one that I've watched since I can remember. It's a crazy one.
There's no crying in baseball.
There's no crying in baseball. 2 sisters joined the first female professional baseball league and struggle to help it succeed amidst their own growing rivalry. And so this takes place when the boys are at war and the girls have to fill in because we still want to see baseball. So it's during World War II, all professional female baseball team. It gets brought up in the Midwest, funded by publicly hungry candy maker Walter Harvey, played by Gary Marshall. Competitive sisters Dottie Hinson, which is played by Gina Davis, and Kit Keller by Lori Petty, spar with each other. Scout Ernie Capadino, who's John Lovitz, and the coach, played by Tom Hanks, on their way to fame. Madonna's even in it, so is Rosie O'Donnell. They co-star as the 2 sisters, teammates of Dottie's husband. Dottie's husband comes back from the war, and she's leaving before the start of the World Series. Jimmy's basically saying he's mad at her over this. He's like, baseball is what gets inside you. It's what lights you up. You can't deny that. Dottie, it's just too hard. And then Jimmy, Tom Hanks, basically says, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those movies that you have to see. I mean, it basically shows a bunch of girls. They're trying to get a team together. They're even seeing other girls play ball and watch this one girl hit the crap out of the ball. And the kids, they got to bring their kids to the game. There's a lot going on. And even in the middle of the game, they have a spot where they're trying to make it sexier. So they want the girls to wear skirts. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, it is a very classic film, and it was very hard for it not to make my list. But all those people in it, and the timing of the World War, and a lot of baseball players going to fight the war. Someone had to take over the game, and
right, and it's based on a true story. I mean, I think they even had some of the girls out there, some of the opening games.
And then I know they do something around the Hall of Fame. They play a game. They go to the Hall of Fame, and there's something in there talking about the whole time in the movie. So great movie, yeah. Like the iconic, there's no crying in baseball. It's always one of those moments in baseball movies.
Yeah, and if you want to be a good movie like that, you got to have those moments. You got to have the iconic quote.
So, I think we already went over both our number 2s, right?
Yes, we did.
So we're at number 1. So before we get into our number 1, we got to talk about a little honorable mentions. I had 2 movies that almost made my list that we didn't talk about yet. One is For the Love of the Game, with Kevin Costner movie.
That's also on my list as well. It's so close. Like, let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. I like that movie, man.
Yeah, a older pitcher. It goes through his whole career and
while
love story.
He's pitching a perfect game.
Yeah, going through possibly one of his last starts. He's older. He's at Yankee Stadium. He's always pitched something special, I think, through the movie, and that place is always special for him.
Right. He during
plays
the movie,
for Detroit.
It has a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of the game. He's pitching a perfect game. The girl he loves is about to get on a plane and leave. And it shows how they met. It also shows like his old teammates who he's up against and on the other end pitching against, and how they used to bond. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's about spring training and different years and stuff.
And in the movie, he's pitching against the Yankees.
Yes,
and they're getting it on the fans are getting him. They're trying to heckle him as much as they can. But at the end, when he throws the perfect game, even the fans have to stand up and clap.
Yeah, they stand up and clap, and then of course he does run and gets the girl, and And so, yeah, very classic, very good. It almost made my list.
Yeah, it could have easily made my list. I just
Yeah.
don't want to put too many Kevin Costners
Yeah.
in here. But you know what? You put a Kevin Costner baseball movie on, I'm watching it. I don't
Yeah.
care. So so that's one of the ones. What other ones you got?
The other one I got was The Little Big League.
Yeah, Little Big League was a good movie.
Yeah,
the kid inherits the team.
Yeah, Grandpa dies very close because his dad died when he was real young. So his grandpa had a special pot. He owns the Minnesota Twins. He gets news that his grandfather passed away, and he gets left the team.
Right, and he's gonna manage the team all while being in like middle school or something.
Yeah,
like that.
He didn't like what the manager was doing, so he fired him. And like, who else to replace him? I know baseball.
Right, and the players don't want to give him a chance at all. They're like, they're tanking on purpose, and he makes a deal with them. He's like, look, you play hard for me. You seriously go out there and put it all in, and if you don't like what I'm doing, I'll quit.
Yeah, so they end up finishing just shy of winning the division.
But they seem to feed into what the kid is preaching, and they love it.
Yeah, and
they have fun again.
And like he makes the decision of sending down one of his favorite players.
Yep, it's just business.
It's like he realized that it's more than a family. Like you're not doing well. We need an extra bat.
Yep.
And
so he has to make the big calls. Big
yeah,
boy pants.
and then the way they have like Ken Griffey Jr. hit that sweet swing and win it, and then that was when Seattle had Randy Johnson.
I have another mentionable movie with Ken Griffey hitting his sweet swing.
Oh man, I think I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think. Summer Catch.
Yes,
Summer
Catch
it was very close to my list as well.
Welcome to the big leagues.
Yeah, that at the very end.
Look,
yes.
man, when you got Freddie Prinze,
and it was a great story how like a lot of the college players who don't get drafted, it needs that other shot. That go to those summer leagues up in Maine and stuff. It kind of fills that spot.
Right, and he was playing in a small town where he was out of his league with a girl he was trying to date because his dad and him are the pool boys or the lawn caretakers at their house. Anyways, so yeah, is that all? Do you have any more?
No, that's pretty much the other ones that we kind of discussed.
All right, so the ones that I wanted to mention, but they weren't on my top 10, like you said, For the Love of the Game. We talked about The Natural, Field of Dreams. We just talked about Summer Catch. So the other two I had, or other couple I had, I had Trouble with the Curve as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had Mr. Baseball.
Okay.
It was basically this guy who's been Mr. Baseball, but he's getting older, and he
Adam Jones.
Yeah, he goes to Japan and plays, and he does his thing.
Yeah, because Yankees trade him. He's like to the Tigers. Like,
right.
The Tigers
like of Japan.
Yeah, then he gets sent over to Japan.
It's a good movie, guys. Yeah. And then the other one I wanted to mention. This one wasn't a movie, but it's a series, Eastbound and Down. Great series for baseball. It's funny comedy. And then the last one I wanted to mention, which probably doesn't make a lot of people's top 10, but it's still a good movie, is Benchwarmers.
Yes. And then another one that just popped in my head is Mr. 3000.
Yeah, Mr. 3000 was up there.
With Bernie Mac.
And another one I almost put on my list, but I didn't. It was Hard Knocks. Maybe it's because Keanu Reeves is in it, but it's still a good
that one. The whole iconic Big Papa.
I love it when you call me Big Papa.
Yeah,
it's
so
a good movie.
So I'm almost certain we both got the same movie.
There's no way that this movie went through 9 other movies and not mentioned yet. It has to be both of our number ones.
Yeah, so number one, we both had to have The Sandlot. Yeah.
Great, iconic movie. You can't get better than that. I don't know.
Yeah. Being raised in the 90s and stuff that we are, and the iconic of playing the summer baseball, we didn't go to the field all the time, but we at least like threw in the middle of the
but we did go to the field quite often.
We did, but
we play a lot of street ball.
Yes.
Car coming, you say car, and we hit off of a cone. We set up our bases in the street, but we did do home run derbies up at the actual field. But it's kind of a hike for us as little kids. But Sandlot, I mean, that's a different one, man. These kids, they come together. It's
and then
it's crazy good.
With the whole Babe Ruth ball, the Beast.
Right. So basically the kid, he just moves to a town, and the kids around him all love to play baseball every day.
They have the special field.
He's not good. He's never really played ball. He doesn't have friends. He's more into robotics and technology. He finally goes out there and is like trying to play. Eventually he gets in with them, and they're at a point where they don't have any more balls to play with. And he's like, I got a ball. So he goes home and snatches his dad's or stepdad's prized signed Babe Ruth ball, and they're out there playing with it. And since he brought the ball, he gets to hit. And guess what? He hit one over the fence
to the Beast.
And so basically the rest of the movie, they're trying to get the ball back. They're trying to get the ball back. They're doing everything they can, but in between they have great other scenes, like they're going to the carnival celebrating after they just beat these guys who think they're top dogs.
That's one of the most iconic scene when you play baseball like a girl.
You play ball like a girl,
man.
He's like, oh, excuse me? He's like, you heard me. He's like, Arfield, tomorrow, noon. So they go over there and they
beat the bricks out.
They beat him so good. I mean, and Hambino, the catcher, he's a perfect catcher. He talks the crap. He backs it up.
Yeah.
And then they celebrate. They go to the carnival with the tobacco, and they all throw up on the tilt-a-whirl or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, and there's other scenes where they're at the community pool and Squints
fakes his drowning, and Wendy Peppercorn saves his life and gives the wink, and you little perv, and gets him kicked out of the pool for the day.
He kisses her, he fakes his drowning basically. And then there's other times, like even when Smalls, the new kid on the block, goes and hangs out with them while they're hanging outside of a drugstore, and they're all doing their Babe Ruth impersonations.
Who's she?
He's like
the
great Bambino. I was like, I thought you meant the great Bambi, that wimpy deer. Yeah.
So ultimately the Beast gets out. Of course, one of the iconic scenes is when Benny the Jet Rodriguez sees Babe Ruth come out.
Right, and he hits him with the quote, man. He's like, hey, look, I got this pickle. And speaking of that, this movie even taught me what a pickle was. So so when you're in a rundown and they're trying to get you going between second and third or first and second, anywhere basically. If you get in the rundown, it's called a pickle. But yeah, Babe Ruth comes to him in a dream. He's got these brand new Nikes, or I'm sorry, what are they?
The PF Flyers.
The PF Flyers, where it makes them guaranteed to make you run faster and jump higher. But he's asking Babe Ruth. He's like, look, I don't know what to do. I got this big pickle I'm in. And he's like, remember, kid, there's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Follow your heart, kid. You can never go wrong. I mean, that's iconic.
That is, I mean, that is one of those iconic baseball quotes out there. Growing up, that was, heroes get remembered, but legends never die. You think of that movie, you see the scene, and
then he has a big chase scene with the Beast. He's going through the whole town, breaking stuff on picnics and the movie theater.
The whole time you see Beast as this huge dog, the paw, and hit the face, jump over the fence.
Right, and that was another great scene. I know we're jumping all around, but this movie just too fun to talk about. So once he loses the ball, they're like, you can't go over there, and he's like, why? The Beast. He's like, what?
And they tell this
and they're like, sleepover. Yeah, Squints tells a story about the Beast, how it was killing people. It was too good at his job, guard dog, and they had to lock it up forever. Right.
And of course, since robotics, they find all these try to wave and the vacuum cleaner.
They blew up the tree house they had.
It's gonna blow because the Beast pinched the pipe and they couldn't just turn it off.
They sent over there to try to pick it up himself.
It was It was very interesting.
It's kids being kids.
And then end up being, so the regular dog. And then, of course, the owner of Beast and the house,
James Earl
Jones, was apparently played with Babe Ruth and all them.
He said he was better than Babe. He said, yeah, George, I used to play with him. But he liked to crowd the plate, and he got too close one time, and they didn't wear helmets when he played, and it was lights out.
Got hit in the head and lights out. So he ultimately made a deal for both balls if they come over and talk baseball with him, and and then they played, and then of course Story Smalls ended up being the commentator for the LA Dodgers, and
Benny the Jet Rodriguez, the best player they had,
he ends up playing for the Dodgers,
right? And at the end of it, he's near the end of his career, and they ended the movie basically with him stealing home, and they're like, he still got it. They don't see him. I can't believe it. He's still at home. They don't see him. And he basically steals it, and they win the game.
And he gives him a thumbs up to Smalls. And
then you see the picture of all the kids that were there.
Right next to him in the booth, it's all of them. It's so. And then I'm very interesting since they're in talks of bringing the whole cast back to do a show.
They're doing a show.
Yes, I'm kind of see what Disney Plus is going to do with the show.
Oh, is Disney taking this one on?
Disney is doing this show.
I also heard Disney's taking on Mighty Ducks show.
With Bombay is back.
Emilio.
So Disney Plus is definitely getting some of those classic, sports movies as us kids to get the feels. So we'll see what they do with the Sandlot.
Is everybody coming back from Sandlot? Are we talking Benny the Jet?
That's the only one we haven't heard yet because he's the only one that doesn't do the autograph signings.
That's a big one, man.
And he didn't do the reunion with everyone. He's the only one.
I really would want to see him come back because it's only the one that
if he just want to do the whole thing, just make an appearance, something where maybe he's doing something else and he can't be there all the time. Like maybe he becomes a coach in baseball.
Right. Well, and I'd be interested to see how they take this on because if they're bringing back the original cast, which took place in the 60s, or so. And they got to be in their
60s, 70s, and
right. They're going to be older, really a lot older.
So yeah, we'll see if this is based in the 80s or something.
There you go. They could base it a little bit earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they did that, then Benny the Jet would still be playing.
True. So this has got to be the 90s then.
All right, we'll see. I mean, because based on the one
it's
they said,
it's going to be a year before we see it. Because
but are they going to base it off of how they ended it? Because they said a couple of those guys became moguls in real estate. Another guy was lost, never seen from again. You know what I'm saying? They had those kind of stories.
Yeah, because they kind of at the end. So we'll see what they do with it.
I mean, Squints and Wendy got married and had kids, and they owned the pharmacy. So there's things that they can play off of that.
So I'm assuming it's something with that small town. They all come back home. We'll see.
Maybe rebrand the Sandlot, make a league or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they end up putting their money together to redo it. Let their kids play on it. Who knows? They'll figure some storyline out, and then with the whole Mighty Ducks show, it'll be interesting with Bombay back. So
right,
but yeah, so that is our top 10 movies. Of course, I had a feeling we were both gonna have Sandlot. It's our time frame. So
and you really can't go wrong with any baseball movies for sure.
I wrote out 15, and it was hard to narrow it down to 10.
Right. I mean, there's even movies that I'm not even thinking of. I remember a movie that I don't know if it was on Netflix or if it came straight to Amazon Prime or something. It was a really good movie, and I was like, man, this is great. I can't remember what it was called right now, but there's tons of movies out there.
There is there's certain ones that just catch your feels, and you want to watch it one day. And I think that's how I watched For the Love of the Game. It was on Netflix or something, or one day, and you just watch it, and it just catches you.
That's a movie that I could put on and just watch. I don't care; it could just play on the background.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't mind at all because For the Love of the Game is one of the great movies, and it's crazy. I don't think it made my list, but it was definitely my mentionables.
Yeah, it came real close making my list. That's what that was one of the Kevin Costner. Like I said, ultimately at first I did have 3 Kevin Costner movies on it,
and that's why you had
Bull Durham and Field of Dreams, and then Love of the Game. For
3
some reason,
iconic movies.
And anytime he touches a sports movie, it does very well. He does even the one they talk about the NFL draft. That he did, I really like. It has a GM.
Great movie.
So some with him in sports movie brings that special character out in him. So,
I don't mind it when I know he's in it. I know it's going to be worth watching.
So yeah. So that is this week's show, pretty much. So with next week, we actually have spring training games to talk about, see who's done what, and then I figure we're going to start breaking down the AL division winners, our picks, next week, and see who we think is going to win those divisions, wildcard games, and so on with the AL next week.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening.
So we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for checking out this episode. Please share us if you enjoyed this content. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AA Sports Podcast. Catch y'all next week. Peace.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. Too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hay. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the balls. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it on.